Welcome, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today?
Sensational.
Hey, sensational.
How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be you, brother. Absolutely, I would be you. Now, we've got a lot of stuff to go over because sports are as crazy as sports have ever gotten during the coronavirus, and we're even going to get into a little Rona as well. So let's kick this thing off and start off by supporting the people that support us. Adam, what we got?
Chris, no matter your level of fitness, beginner, intermediate, advanced, if you like to be challenged a little or a lot, and you want the benefit of working with a personal trainer without the personal trainer cost, then Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is for you. Training Personally is interval circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer at your pace on your time. Peggy Edwards is a certified personal trainer, owner-operator. She will keep your workouts safe. She'll keep them fresh, brand new all the time. She keeps them really fun. All right, you're going to enjoy working out. Everything is clean. She's got a procedure. You get there, you're going to be social distanced. You're going to be it's very serious. She's taking it seriously. She wants to make sure you can get a great workout, push yourself a little bit and still be safe. And everything's clean. And you're not gonna be using all the same equipment everybody else is while you're there. You're gonna have your own stuff or your own space, and you're gonna do your workout in that space. It's all taken care of. She provides every service you can imagine. Personal training, like it says, you pay the cost of like a cheap gym membership, but you get the personal attention of a personal trainer. So check it out. Training Personally. It's at 3634 Boudneau Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Give her a call. All the information you need is on her website, trainingpersonally.com. There's information, there's videos and stuff. If you want to get information from her and workouts from her and do them at home first and see how you feel, facebook.com/trainingpersonally. If you have questions for her directly, you can email her, Peggy, Peggy, at trainingpersonally.com, or give her a call, 513-328-0296. It's Training Personally with Peggy Edwards, 513-328-0296.
And for a limited time only, mention the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, and you will get the first month absolutely free of charge. It's on the podcast. We got you taken care of. Did you already say that?
I did not. As many workouts as you can do in a month, you get them all for free.
We got you.
Just tell her. Just tell her I heard about you on the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. A couple of goofballs that I listen to once in a while, and she'll be like, "Oh, I know those goofballs. Good. Let's get you some free workouts."
Let's get you some free workouts, exactly. And after your workout, you can roll over a little further west towards the Bridgetown area, and you can, a little bit further in the Bridgetown area, get a hold of Green Solace, GREENE solace.com, SOLACE. Go over there. Green Solace is a massage, is a massage. I want to say it's not a massage parlor. She's a masseuse. How about that? Elizabeth Green. Liz is an experienced professional massage therapist. She provides you with a massage tailored to your needs, whether it's just to relax and unwind or you need a focused massage on your problem areas. So for a guy like me, my back, my neck, been pretty tense here lately. You know, the Rona's got me a little stressed out. You know, might need a little work done. She just, it ended today. If you mentioned the Nosebleeds podcast, you would have got $10 off of a massage. Ended today, which means that tomorrow when you guys all listen to this podcast, it's already over. Don't worry about that. Give her a call anyway. Help her out. She'll take care of you. She's located somewhere over on the west side in a nice, clean environment. I would tell you where it is, but I don't have it popped up. But that's all right, because I can tell you this: she'll even come to your house. She'll mask up, come in, and help you out in your house if you need, or or you can contact her at the contact that I'm going to read as soon as it pops up onto my phone here, which apparently has decided that it's just going to stop working in general. So, oh, here we go. There you go. You can contact so it's 135 South Miami Avenue in Cleves, Ohio. Get a hold of her, 513-702-4178. I apologize for the extreme awkwardness at the end of that read, but my phone stopped working. So get a hold of Liz Greensolace, GREENESOLACE.com. You can book online and get yourself rubbed down and get yourself taken care of.
Excellent. Now, Chris, we talked last week. I don't think we talked last week. I think we talked 2 weeks ago about it because last week we had Bobby Nightingale on getting us ready for the playoffs, the Major League Baseball playoffs, which we'll talk about shortly. But first, a while ago, it's been month to maybe it was a month and a half, maybe. You were in an accident. You're okay. You're fine. But the car was totaled, right? And
yep, been right at about a month. I was August 23rd.
Okay, so just over a month, and you've been driving a rental since then. You were talking about getting something new. You were coming close. You were getting close to possibly getting something new last time we talked a couple weeks ago. Did you get something new, and what is it?
I did. I actually went out today, went and got myself a 2016 used, because on the podcast the podcast dime that we get here isn't exactly ready for. We're not to the point where we're getting brand new vehicles, but got me a nice used F-150. All the bells and whistles inside. It's got the big giant Panos sunroof on it. It's pretty slick. I love it. I'm pretty happy about it. First full-size truck. When I say full-size, I mean F-150. It doesn't have a full-size bed, but first full-size truck that I've had. I've had a truck, just a little S10, not the same. I love it. Absolutely love I drove this little Impala for a month that I hated more than anything. It felt like I was driving with my butt hole scraping the gravel on the ground as I drove. I hate every second of it. Now I'm back up top, back above everybody, look down on them as they drive by. It's one of my favorite things to do, to be up a little bit higher. And when people come by, just get a little peek down in the car, see what they're doing down there. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on in the car today? You never know what you're going to see, dude. Some people drive with like 1 foot way up high. Some people are, playing on their tweet phones, and people are doing different things. My favorite, driving on the highway, throw that thing on cruise control right in the center lane. People come by, I just peek over, take a little look. What are you doing over there? Sometimes they might, you never know. I'm always trying to just see if I can catch somebody in some kind of crazy act.
Somebody doing something a little nasty, or doing something a little embarrassing.
That would make my day. If I could find, I've never seen it, but if I could see somebody doing something they should probably be doing with, in their room, in the silence of their own peacefulness, I would love to see that. I'd be driving as fast as I could to keep up with that son. What are you doing in there, man? What are you doing? You're all over the road.
Sure, you see a lot of nose picking and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah, those are. I've heard some interesting stories from truck drivers.
Oh yeah,
no
doubt. I have heard some interesting stories from truck drivers as well. So this is
congratulations on your new vehicle. I'm glad you got out of that rental, or not, the loaner or whatever, and I'm glad you got something.
So the Corona has made buying a vehicle super easy now, because they will just deliver it to you if you're close enough to them. Now I went a little further away. I was about an hour away to go get it, but I made the deal over the phone beforehand. It was basically over text. Called the guy once, texted him a few times, made the deal over it, filled out all the pertinent details and all the application stuff online through the website. Got there, didn't have to do any of the annoying stuff that you have to do when you go to a dealership, where they act like they take your bid back to somebody and they really talk about baseball for an hour and then come back and have a different price on a piece of paper, and they like slide it back and forth. Like, come on, man, let's just talk like human beings. We're not like, it's not 1945 trying to make a deal here. Anyway, all that is done. That is the one good thing about the Rona. So I got in and out of there way faster than normal. Speaking of the Rona, word on the street is somebody had to get their nose. It's what it is. Somebody had to get their nose raked by a Q-tip in the past few days.
It's not what I was expecting you to say.
Tell me it doesn't feel like that, though. Tell me it doesn't feel like that.
It's uncomfortable. It's real uncomfortable.
I know that you're saying yes to it, like you're allowing it to happen, but in real life, you don't want it at all.
Right.
It's the definition.
You give consent, but it's reluctant consent.
Reluctant consent.
So yeah, I had to get tested for the third time. I was exposed to somebody once again, and I promise I'm not hanging out with fools that are just going and hanging out and partying with a million people.
I love this. The best part about this podcast is Adam Schmidt is the most scared, the most safe person I know about the Rona, and yet he keeps coming into contact with people that have had this thing.
I have. Yep. So yeah, I found out the other day that somebody that I was around and am around a couple of days a week have not in my family, but through a work venture, did test positive. So I went ahead and got tested, and because I was with that person 2 days before they got tested, so pretty good chance. Now I haven't. The one weird thing to me is that they say there's this thing now that they say exposure is like 15 minutes or more around people. Like 15 minutes is a time frame they say that's like you don't have to do certain things if you haven't been around somebody for more than 15 minutes that has it or something like that.
But within a certain distance, though, right?
Within a certain distance, right? But still, like. You can, if you and I are standing right next to each other and I have it and we're together for 10 minutes, that's not, I mean, you can get it just obviously the longer you are around someone within a close distance, the more chance that they're going to get it. But I don't understand the 15-minute thing anyway.
I don't understand it either, but I feel totally safe that you could be in contact, or not in contact, but you could be around anyone. I feel totally safe that you don't have it. You know why? Because I can see you like leaving your house, and if you have to get out of your vehicle and you don't have hand sanitizer or something with you, I see you like hands in pockets, mask on, trying to stay as far away from anybody as humanly possible. And then as soon as you get in the car, before you even take your mask off, soaking down with the hand sanitizer, using it like aftershave on your face, going to town.
I'm pretty careful about it. I am, and especially when I'm in places that I have to be, where they're, where you're not always able, either way, whether you're able to or not, be within or outside of 6 feet of people. If there's going to be other people around, I'm wearing my mask. I'm not doing it's not going below my nose and stuff. If it does, I'm pulling it up the whole time. Sure. I'm trying to do it right, but not everybody else is. So
makes it tough.
Anyway, so yeah, and it's more and more people, even people that I feel like were pretty serious about it at first. I'm seeing more and more people that are just not caring about it anymore. But anyway. I got tested again, and I should get results because the results are coming in faster now than they were before. From what I understand, the process is getting better.
So we could be doing this podcast, and you could currently have the Rona.
It's possible.
Do you feel anything? Do you feel anything?
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and say you've got a big old negatory.
I
on
sure
the road.
hope so, but I'm telling you, man, all the people that we're finding out, we just found out that I think it's like 5 people from the Tennessee Titans came
Yep,
down with it, and
that
every
game's
single one
canceled.
of them are asymptomatic. More and
Yep,
more people you hear people that had it, and they're like, no, feel fine, or
yep.
I had to blow my nose once the other day, and that was about it, and so I don't know. It seems like people that are getting it are asymptomatic at a higher rate, which is good, but it's also a little scarier because you're not going to know it,
It
unless
just
you know.
makes you wonder how many different viruses you've had over the years and didn't know.
Yeah, this one's just different because if it hits the wrong person, it could kill them.
Well, I think a lot of viruses, if they hit the wrong person, it could kill them. But yes, this virus seems to be as bad, if not worse, mostly because they don't have anything to try to help prevent it.
Right,
So
and it's a
anyway,
respiratory specific thing and all that kind of
right,
stuff.
right,
Yeah.
right, right, right. And but anyway, besides that, so I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So you know me, right? I'm not much of I was never much of a hand sanitizer kind of guy before all this started. I've always joked around about, bring on all the bacteria you got. I'll take it. Let's go. Build my immune system up. I always joked about that before all the Rona came around. Am I the only one in the world that when I get in my car now, if I go in somewhere and I've got to, do my little thing for work, and I go into a place, get back in my car, take my mask off, get a little squirt of the old sanitizer. Am I the only one that gives it a little hand scrub and then still a little wet? So pat on the face, rub around the nose, dry it off in your beard, kind of a thing. Am I the only one that does that? I feel like I'm getting extra clean that way. I feel like I'm helping a little bit of everything out. I want to know if you do that, and if anybody watching, please comment on whatever you're listening to this on. I need to know how people finish drying your hands. Because, dude, when you do a squirt of hand sanitizer on you, it's a lot. Dude, that's a lot. Like, I feel like I have to completely dry it off, I'd have to get up to my elbows. I'm not going all the way up to my elbows. I get my hands did, pat the old face, and get out.
Yeah, I don't normally do that, but because you're still supposed, I feel like even with the sanitizer is in place if you don't have soap and water. So I mean, it's they
Hand
say
sanitizer
it kills.
not as good.
What's that?
Is hand sanitizer not as good as soap and water?
From what I understand, yeah. From what I understand, you should always do soap and water if you can, and hand sanitizer is kind of secondary. But like you're going in and out of places, you're probably not gonna. You have to, but you could go into a place you're visiting and go into the bathroom and wash your hands, but you're gonna touch 3 doors before you go out. So
Yep.
you still probably should, even if you wash
Oh,
your
no.
hands.
You got to buy one of those keys now. They got these little key looking things where you can
Yeah.
grab with it, you can push with it, you can like open up a bottle with it. You do anything you want, man.
Yep. Scratch up everybody's door with your with your key, I
That's
guess.
right. Exactly.
So yeah, you're right. I have seen those. But I have only done that once, and it was just the other day where I was doing the hand sanitizer stuff, and I just kind of did this business with it, just on the beard.
Yeah.
But I don't,
For
because
those of you
you're not supposed to
listening
touch your
on
face,
for
even
those of you
after.
listening on Apple Podcast, Adam just dried the rest of his hand sanitizer on his beard, so you know what he was doing.
Right. Yes. Thank you. But yeah, I usually do get the wrists and stuff because you're right. It's you can do the hands, and I just keep doing the hands until it works its way all the way in. But you do the wrists and stuff too, and that kind of thing. But I don't normally, because I'm trying not to touch my face. I touch my face a ton, or I did before all this happened, and I still do, but I try to be a little bit more aware of it now.
Gotcha.
But anyway. So that's that. Yep.
Now, speaking of Corona, and you were just talking about the Tennessee Titans came down with a little bit of the Rona, which means that their game now is going to be rescheduled for, what did they say? Was it somewhere between Monday and Wednesday, I believe? They're going to try to reschedule that game for a few days later into the week.
Okay.
To try to make sure they get sufficient testing done and are able to get people onto the squad to make the game happen.
Yeah.
So we'll not play it on Sunday. That being said, we like to make NFL picks every week.
Right.
And how did we do last week, Adam?
Last week, I looked at mine and I was a little disappointed, but then after I looked at yours, I felt a little bit better because we both went 1-2 for the second week in a row.
Every time you start off that way, I know exactly what you're about to say.
I don't trick anybody. I'm not smart enough to trick anybody. But we both did go 1-2 last week, so we're both 2-4 on the year now. We started in week 2, so after 3 weeks, we pick 3 games each week. So 6 games in, and we're both 2-4. So I feel a little bit better that I haven't been doing well because we both equally have not been doing great. So anyway, on to this week. Yeah, on to this week, and we won't be able to. We won't pick the Titans versus Steelers game like you were talking about because that one's not happening this weekend. But we are picking against the spread according to what ESPN has on Wednesday when we record, just to make that clear for everybody. And for this week, would you like to? Gosh bless you. Gosh bless you.
Thank you.
Just sneezed.
I don't know who Gosh is. I'd prefer you to ask God to bless me, but Gosh works too.
Yeah, well, I don't take his name in vain, so.
It's not in vain. There's absolutely no vain in that. You're actually asking God to bless someone.
Yeah, you're right.
Unless you really don't want to bless me, then yes, that would be God's name in vain.
I was asking Gosh, God's brother.
Yeah.
God's brother Gosh. So he's a pretty good guy too. Doesn't have all the same superpowers that God has, but
sure.
Some of them though.
I wonder which ones he has.
He has the ability to bless people that sneeze. That's one of them. And the only other one he has is the ability to make telephone calls without actually using the phone.
That's insane. That's unbelievable. He must have been the one who helped what's his name? Alexander Graham Bell, when he answered that prayer.
Yeah. Yep. Alexander Graham Bell said, "Dear Gosh, please bless me with the ability to invent a communication device that I can talk to somebody from far away using this thing." End of joke. All right. So week 4, I really need to make sure that I don't lose our bet because that's a little taste of how bad my comedy is going to be if I do that. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first on our week 4 NFL picks?
I'll go first. I can go first. Actually, you know what? It might be better if you have it pulled up for you to go first, because once again, the old slow man phone over here isn't pulling anything up. So
okay,
might be better for you, bub.
Okay. So I've got my first game. I'm taking Indianapolis is a 2.5-point favorite at Chicago. I'm going to take Chicago as an underdog at home. My second game, I'm taking Seattle, who is a 6.5-point favorite at Miami on the road. I'm going to take Seattle to win by a touchdown and an extra point or more. And then my third game, I'm taking – so the game is the 3-0 Buffalo Bills at the Raiders of Las Vegas. And Buffalo is a 3-point favorite on the road. I'm taking the Raiders as a 3-point underdog at home. So I've got the Chicago Bears, the Seattle Seahawks, almost said Supersonics, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm having an easier time with that than I thought I would.
Oh yeah, it's way easier than Los Angeles Chargers. That's still very hard to do.
Los Angeles, yeah, and even the Raiders,
easy.
They went back and forth between Los Angeles and Oakland a couple times. I still confuse it in my head, so I'm like, you know what? Just leave California and go somewhere else, and they did that. And I appreciated that.
Good work on your side. Good work on your side. All right, so that brings it to me, and I'll tell you what. I have not looked at a single game this week, But if I were to just start flipping through the old radar book here, you know what? I really like the Bills. They've looked really good, but 3 points is a lot in a game against another team that's been playing well. Let's do this. Let's go with the Rams -12 because I think the New York Giants are the worst team in football.
Wow.
So I got no problem with that. I'm going to take the Rams -12. Then here's one here. Houston is a 4.5 underdog to the Minnesota Vikings. Houston has played 3 really tough games. And the Vikings, even though they're 0-3, it's not like they're the world's biggest slouch. But I'm going to take Houston minus the 4.5 to beat the Vikings. I've now taken 2. I repeat is what I meant to say. Favorites, which brings me to the next game I'm going to take, which is going to be none of these. I'm going to take none of these. I can't find a single non-favorite. I can't find a single underdog that I'm feeling really good about here. Let's see. How about if the postponement is going to hurt me? I would have taken that game. Just kidding. I got it. Patriots +7. Oh, just saying that against the Chiefs sounds like it sounds blasphemous coming out of my mouth because I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form, but I'm still going to say it.
Okay. You have New England, and you said they are
+7.
+7.
Real quick, just to let everybody know, when we do our phenomenal picks of the week, don't go and bet anyone. Don't go and bet on any of these because we haven't done any research. We're not really paying attention. It's more just for us to have a little bit of fun, and it's really just a segment so we can get into our next segment, which brings us to something that's going on right now as we speak. Wednesday, September 30th. What are we at right now? It is 10:49. We are currently, what are we in the third? Are we in the fourth quarter yet?
We are 6 minutes and 44 seconds left in the third quarter.
And this is the NBA Finals. The finals are here, the bubble finals. LeBron versus the ex-LeBron team of the Miami Heat, which has been the surprise of the bubble. So this game is going to be over by the time this game is already over. This game is already over, and it kind of sucks because I was going to say something. So we always make a bet, not a bet, but we always pick what we think the series is going to be, and if you hit it dead on the nose, you get to take some minutes on and off of what we're going to do for our 2 minutes of stand-up comedy. So I guess the first thing I should ask is, since last week, did either of us get the Eastern Conference or Western Conference correct?
You will be over the moon to know that you picked both conferences correct. You picked Miami to beat Boston in 6 and the Los Angeles Lakers to beat Denver in 5. Both of those happened. I'm impressed. I'm real impressed, and I'm real disappointed because the tally is now that I owe you 2 minutes of stand-up comedy.
Woo! That means if you lose the actual Major League Baseball bet, you are now to 4 minutes of stand-up. So does that mean if I lose the bet that nothing happens?
It's a wash.
It's a wash. Ooh, I'm kind of digging this. All right, so then on that note, I'm feeling good. Nothing bad can happen from here. Let's go ahead and figure out if we've got any more minutes added or subtracted. And we'll just go ahead and tell you with 6 minutes left, the Lakers are currently up by 22. Is that correct?
It's 30.
It's 30 now? Okay,
30.
That's how far. Oh, no. No, it's 32. It's 32.
32. Okay.
Sorry.
That's 32. And
That's
Bam
my
Adebayo is leaving the game now, so that's so this game's over.
yes, it is. All right. So on that note, Adam, Lakers Heat. The Heat have been the surprise team in this bubble. Maybe not a surprise. Maybe, yeah, they've been the surprise team. But they've looked really, really, really good. Playing as a team, terrific defense, unbelievably coached by Eric Spoelstra. Jimmy Butler playing out of his mind. Harold's playing great. Dragic's playing great. Bam Adebayo is playing phenomenal basketball. It's a really good team. Andre Iguodala is putting out 7 or 8 good minutes of basketball when he's out there. What do you think about the NBA Finals, and what is your pick for how many games and who's going to win?
Chris, I was trying to look into some numbers and just within the playoffs because it's hard to find. It's hard to look at numbers and know what to do with them if you look at like the season, because they missed so much time in the middle of the season, and they had the thing where they played the 8 seed games, and so most of this has been playoff basketball. So it matters much more how teams have been playing for the last month or two than any of the regular season stuff. So looking at all that stuff, they're actually this looks on paper like a really good matchup. As far as is scoring and defense and all that kind of stuff, team statistics, it looks really good and like it's going to be really close. Like you said, it's now it's a 28-point game. So knowing that in the first game that the Lakers are blowing out Miami, it's there are a few things that jumped out that don't seem like major differences in statistical categories that might impact the game, but I think they're important enough that it could, and it could be because these, aside from this game, I expect a lot of these games to come down to a couple of possessions. And so when you have, a rebound per game difference where the Lakers get one more rebound a game, that doesn't sound like a lot, but they get 2 more offensive rebounds a game. And that's a much bigger deal. Offensive rebounds, you're going to score a lot more off of offensive rebounds than you are after defensive rebounds. So things like that are a big deal. Free throw shooting, Miami shoots like 13 or maybe 15. Actually, I have it somewhere. I wrote all this stuff down because I just do that for fun anyway, because I'm a weirdo. But they shoot 8%, about 8% better from the free throw line, and that's a huge number. Especially when you come down to the end of games and they're close games and you have to foul, that's the only chink in LeBron James' armor over his career is free throw shooting. So, that's a thing, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, so he's going to have to make free throws, or he's going to have to give the ball up, and Anthony Davis is going to have to be the guy with the ball in his hands a lot at the end of the game because he's a better free throw shooter. But as a team, you got to be able to make free throws. You got to get stops. Defensively, they're really closer than you would think. But like the Lakers get one more steal a game and like 1.5 more blocks a game. So neither one of those are huge differences, but you put those together, those are stops, those are turnovers forced that are going to make a difference. So having said all that, looking through a bunch of stuff, it's still pretty, the Lakers look like a little bit better defensive team, and Miami might be a tiny bit better offensive team. And one more really interesting thing is the bench. When I looked at the bench, the Heat bench gives them a huge defensive advantage. They're a much better defensive team with their players coming off the bench, and the Lakers have a huge offensive advantage with the guys coming off of their bench. So I thought that was really interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now, the Lakers their Lakers bench play more minutes. So maybe that makes a difference too. And maybe their offense that they bring outdoes the defense that Miami's bench brings. But having said all that, where I'm going to go with this. It's going 7 games. All right. Of course, it's going to go 7 games in my mind.
That's right. I figured.
And
Especially after all that crazy talk about bench scoring and bench defense and this, that, and the other. And let's be honest, Adam, you've got it going 7, and I'm bringing the broom out. I'm bringing the broom out. It's a Lakers sweep, baby. It's a Lakers sweep. Bring it out.
Watching the Miami Heat play the last 2 months, you believe that the Lakers are going to sweep the Miami Heat.
I do. I believe the Heat team is very good. And I believe that in the East, they were able to do some crazy things. And I really, truly believe that if Giannis wouldn't have got hurt, that things might have turned out a little different in that series. And even though, don't get me wrong, the Heat are playing great, and they were able to stop Giannis. They could stop him. LeBron and Anthony Davis are different players than Giannis. You know, they play offensively way different. So you can stop one guy who is a drive to the basket, 100 mile an hour up and down the court. You can stop a guy like that by just putting a crazy defensive guy in front of him and not letting him run and fouling him and keeping him out of the paint and keeping him from being able to turn a corner. Whereas LeBron and Anthony Davis have many facets to their game, and they're going to beat you in many different ways. And I think it's really, to be honest, I think it's the Caruso factor. I think he might be my favorite player in the NBA. He might slowly be overtaking LeBron. But no, this team is too good. The Heat have had their run. I love this Heat team, and I hope it goes further. But you are going to see a Los Angeles Lakers team that has something to prove after last year not making the playoffs when LeBron got hurt, bringing in AD to do his thing. Kobe Bryant, the death of Kobe Bryant this year, there is a lot. They made it to this point. Now it is all hell-bent. LeBron is all hell-bent to win this title for the reason he went to LA, and then Kobe dying, and that's just another thing to add on to it. This is it, dude. It's over. It's over. It's 4 games and over. Let's go. I'm going to say that this series doesn't even make it out of Orlando.
Ooh, man. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. If they're sweeping. So the first 4 games in Orlando, yeah, so you're right. If the Lakers win those first 4 games, then they don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
So by the way, I said 7 games. I'm taking Miami in 7. That's how different we are on this. I'm taking Miami in 7.
Whoa!
You're taking the Lakers in 4.
Oh,
We're way far apart on this, which means you know what that means. It's gonna happen. Something in between there is what it's really gonna be.
Cow. We couldn't be any further apart from each other.
Yeah, and I feel weird saying Miami in 7 while I'm looking at them down 29 right now or whatever it is. But they're going to be fine. And I'll tell you what, the one thing, I even had way more statistics that were the most boring 30, 45 seconds of this entire podcast was when I just went through all that stuff. And I had way more than that. But aside from all that, what I feel the best about this Miami team is somebody that you mentioned earlier, Eric Spoelstra. He has surfaced as not really surfaced. He really has been for several years now one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in this league, and he is. I think he's proven it more than any other time with this team right now. I mean, this is a team that has a bunch of rookies that are playing big minutes and playing well. And he's made some adjustments. He makes adjustments well. They've been playing this 2-3 zone off and on throughout the playoffs, and they can use it enough to throw you off for a few possessions or whatever, and then most teams are going to figure it out. But
sure,
they do it well
most
enough.
teams do well in the NBA. There's too many good shooters in the NBA to be able to play a 2-3 zone for extended minutes.
Right. But they have done it, and they have done some damage with it here and there throughout the playoffs. So anyway, I believe in Eric Spoelstra, and I think they're going to – Miami's just going to figure it out. They're going to gut it out. I don't know. Maybe it's just more a hunch than anything else.
So I mean, I'm with you. I said it before. I think Eric Spoelstra has been phenomenal, especially this year and the last couple of years. He has overachieved every year since LeBron has been gone in Miami. They have had years where they said they're rebuilding, and he's come out and made playoffs, and he's been phenomenal. Frank Vogel's no slouch. I mean, Frank Vogel is a guy that you were in love with back when he was in Indy.
Yep. And I still think that highly of him. And I don't think Eric Spoelstra is head and shoulders above Frank Vogel as a coach or anything like that. And I think they both have really good staffs. Frank Vogel has definitely a very high profile staff with Jason Kidd and those guys. But I don't know. There's just something about Eric Spoelstra. He's like Eric Spoelstra, Brad Stevens, Nick Nurse, those guys that are just seem like they have these basketball brains that are willing to think outside the box and try different things that you don't normally see and throw different stuff at teams and make adjustments and come up with all kinds of crazy stuff that you have to figure out that you don't normally see. And I don't know. And it seems like he's just a smart guy who gets the most out of his players and figures that out. And he started out as a video coordinator there.
Yep.
And I'm reading this book about the power of a positive team, and in that book, the author has spent time with sports teams and stuff like that, and he mentions Eric Spoelstra, and he said, his first couple years or whatever, he did a lot of X's and O's. Sat down and watched a ton of film and did all that kind of stuff. And he and actually several other coaches have done this, kind of shifted their focus toward culture. And it was funny to read that because the last few weeks, as the Miami Heat have picked up steam and people have really paid attention, people have been talking about the Heat culture and the Heat way or whatever. And they've been asking those guys about it because they started talking about that stuff, and it's a big thing. And it seems to come from probably from Pat Riley at the very top, and he brought in Eric Spoelstra because he believed in him, and they are on the same page with what they want the whole organization to be, and the culture, the mindset. And Jimmy Butler's talked a lot about it the last couple of weeks, and it's just that's interesting to me. So anyway, I'm buying into that. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now. So I've got Heat in 7.
All right, good luck. Well, they've already. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say they've already lost game 1. It's not over as of this exact moment in time. I feel pretty confident about saying that. I don't feel like I'm jumping out on any limbs at this point in time, but.
Usually in the NBA, no lead is safe, especially when it's not, you still have 14, 15 minutes or whatever it is to play. But this Lakers team is pretty good defensively, and I think they're pretty safe here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 26 points, up 26 going into the fourth quarter is going to be pretty tough to come back from.
Yeah.
With against a LeBron James, Anthony Davis Lakers team.
You have a defensive player of the year candidate every year in Anthony Davis, and some other guy, Dwight Howard has been really good, and some other guys who will dial it in. Playoff Rondo even will D up.
And how about playoff LeBron? I mean, I know that he takes a lot of plays off, but when that dude needs to play defense, he's as good of a defender as anyone else in the NBA.
Yep, he can be. That's why it's so frustrating when he's not.
I understand that totally. I totally understand that. It's frustrating for me to see it happen. because I love the guy so much. But at the same time, let's be honest. He could be the best defender in the NBA.
At least at one time he could be.
If you told me one possession, anybody in the NBA, and you get to pick anybody to play him on defense, I would take LeBron versus LeBron.
LeBron versus LeBron?
Yeah. I'm just saying I would put LeBron on defense for one play to, I don't know, for my life or something. Like, I feel like that dude's not going to let anything happen.
To stop LeBron, to stop himself?
Okay. That was maybe a little silly. I'll put LeBron on, let's say Antetokounmpo or AD or whoever.
No, I got you. Yep. His size and athleticism, even at 36 or whatever he is, the way he's taking care of himself, he can still get up and down, as well as anybody. And he in transition on offense, and then he can still chase down and block guys. And yep, he can turn it on when he needs to, and when he needs to at the end of games, he'll do it.
Yep.
Well, Chris, LeBron James is famously a New York Yankees fan.
Yes, he is.
He is from Akron, which is close to Cleveland. And we know he played a lot of his years in Cleveland, and he claimed Cleveland as his city and all that kind of stuff. And the Yankees and Indians are playing this first round wild card series against each other as one of the
games going on as we speak.
And it's a close game. And this is the Yankees. So the Yankees won game 1, and they're up 1-0. So the Indians have to come back and win this game. The Yankees are up a couple runs in the 6th inning, so there's still plenty of time. But
Cleveland has 2 runners on.
Yes, they do.
One out.
They do. This is gonna age well. When you guys are listening to this, you're gonna be like, I don't care that they're losing by 2 runs right now. I already know what the score was. Anyway, but if the Yankees do end up winning this, they're going to be the 3rd team to advance already. This is the weird thing: is this first round wild card series is only 3 games, and and they're playing every day. There are no off days in between games, so it's kind of fun because they started with 4 games the first day, and then they moved into with the American League, and then the National League started, and game 2 of the American League series are going on. So we had 8 baseball games, 8 playoff baseball games today, which is absolute heaven.
I love it.
And we already have 2. So the Yankees will be the 3rd team to advance already if we have that happen. So already advancing have been the number 1 seed Tampa Bay Rays. They beat the Blue Jays. So they move on to the division series. And the other team, the actual first team that advanced are your, Chris Witt, Houston Astros, who beat the Twins the first 2 games of their series. They won 3-1 today. And
Houston will not win a World Series this year because somebody will just throw at their heads in a game until everyone is out of the game and all they're playing with is guys they got to call up from somewhere out in Texas.
The Houston Astros might be my American League team now, just because I know everybody
hates them
so much.
That is so not like you. I love it. That's awesome.
Well, because I feel like it's like people have gone so overboard that they're unfair about it now.
How's that?
Just like nonstop with the either jokes or every time they lose, it's you can't win if you don't cheat, huh? Like it's been so overplayed by now that every time somebody says anything about the Astros cheating, it grinds my gears, and I'm like, you know what? I want the Astros to win every game now.
I'll tell you this. It really grinds my gears. I don't know. I just wanted to say that saying. No, but listen, the Astros have an extremely talented team. They're really talented. even if you're cheating and you know things, you still have to be able to be talented enough to do something with it. That being said, it is a little frustrating that nothing has been done to any player on that team.
Yeah, and it's not going to, because it would have by now.
Well, yeah, right. That nothing's been. I know it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's slightly frustrating that that's never going to happen. So,
but time to move on.
I feel like you get a year. I feel like we get a year. We get a whole year. We get one full year. And if there are going to be some that milk it into the next few years after that, but I feel like they get one full year. That's what their punishment is. Their punishment is us. Their punishment is us being able to say whatever we want without them being able to do anything about it, because they did it and they admitted it.
All right. Well, thank God that it is the shortest year in baseball history, because I'm done with it already.
There you go. I know you're done with it. So you only got to deal with it for another year. I'll give you my Astros hat. I haven't worn it since.
All right. Well, in other series, the Cardinals are up 1-0 on the Padres now after winning 7-4 in Game 1. You have the A's and White Sox. Chris, the greatest two words in sports. Game 3.
4.
3.
I don't know what I'm saying. 3. I don't even know what. I don't even know any games are in these playoffs anymore.
So the White Sox and A's are going to be our first decisive Game 3 in this wild card series. Go A's is what I say. So anyway, and that's in Oakland. So advantage.
We also had the beautiful Reds game that was played today. Of course, the Reds lost, but I say beautiful because the Reds have been getting a lot of slack today about this Game 1 against Atlanta. I'm hearing a lot of people upset about the fact, here we go, Reds again, here we go. That was playoff baseball. That was fun. First 0-0 extra inning game in the playoffs since 1996 or 97 ALCS. That's impressive.
And the longest to go, the first one to go to stay 0-0 beyond 11 innings. So there's that. So it's the longest game in postseason history to go to stay 0-0.
We got to see 2 of the top 3 pitchers in all of baseball start this game. Maybe not of all of baseball, but at least in the National League.
I'll tell you what. I think Trevor Bauer staked his case for the best. I think at this very moment, Trevor Bauer is the best pitcher in the world. Right now.
He did it against one of the best offenses. That's the more impressive part. What Fried did today was not that big of a deal because it was against the Reds offense, which is, is sporadic to say at best. They're a sporadic team.
And the thing is, the Reds offense has been bad almost the entire year, and the Braves offense is incredible, one of the best, maybe the best offense in baseball. And the thing is, the Reds offense actually outperformed the Braves offense today because the Reds had 11 hits. The Reds had 11 hits, 3 walks. They stranded 13 runners. That's the problem. That's the issue with the Reds.
I can't tell you how many were left in scoring position.
Yeah. A lot, including in a couple of the extra innings as well.
Yes.
And so
that hurt.
And that was the thing is against Max Fried, as well as he pitched, the Reds made contact a ton against him. Mm-hmm. Even the outs that they were making, they were putting balls in play, and that's a way bigger thing. Trevor Bauer was shutting that offense down. He had 12 strikeouts, which is another record. It's a Reds record.
In the
playoffs. And the Reds, was it 21 total strikeouts, I think? 21 or 22 total strikeouts?
It was like 38 total between both teams, which is another record.
Several records today in this game. And we were talking earlier, and this is exactly – I'm totally with you on this. This is exactly the game that I want to see playoff baseball. I want 0-0 games.
I hate that the Reds lost this game. Don't get me wrong. I hate it. And there's a lot of places where I would have done things completely different than what Bell did. Including after striking out a guy just because the leadoff hitter's up the next batter and it's his 4th time through the lineup or whatever, not leaving Trevor Bauer out there and going with Iglesias that you know is going to end up pitching another inning after that, and he hates doing that. Mm-hmm. Knowing all that, he still brought it in, and it worked for him today. For the moment, thank God, I guess, at the time. But
you can thank
gosh. Sorry. Yeah, we'll thank either one of them. They're brothers. They both they talk it out. So I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with a lot of the things he does. It worked today. But if he goes and throws 4 people into the leadoff spot and pinch hits 5 different people in this leadoff spot and doesn't let somebody get into some kind of groove for what seemed like to me no reason at all, I would have started Akiyama anyway. You bring him in for Aquino. You do what you got, whatever, or not for Aquino, but for whoever he brought him in for. And then Galvis comes in after that. That might have been – I don't agree with a lot of things that he did. But it was a really fun baseball game to watch. It sucked to be on the losing end.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you there, especially after you get the kind of pitching performance from Trevor Bauer and from the bullpen. I mean, the bullpen was fantastic again. And I like you said, I was against taking Bauer out as well. In that moment, I was against it. And
I still think it's silly.
Yeah, me too. And I was wrong about several things as I'm second guessing his moves. Before the game started, I told a couple people, I'm like, you're starting Senzel and leading him off. He's been horrible since he came back.
He might have been the best player on the team today.
And then the guy had 2 hits in his first 2 plate appearances, I think. So I was glad to be wrong about that, but they didn't end up turning into runs. And then I like Akiyama, certainly. I think he figured it out after having a tough time starting the season. He figured it out, got better. He ended the season on kind of a bad note, but I still feel more confident in his ability to hit the ball. And he's a very good defensive player as well. So, but Bobby Nightingale last week told us, because we asked him, is David Bell in the playoffs still going to be messing with the guys in the leadoff spot and doing the matchups? And he said, yes, that's the way he does it. He's doing it.
Pinch hit 3 times, or not pinch hit twice, 3 different hitters in the leadoff spot today.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bobby was right. I mean, he knew he was going to do it, and he did it. And everybody second guesses everything David Bell does, including me in some cases.
Second guessing. I guess it is second guessing. I'm second guessing the moment it happens.
Yeah.
Even if I'm wrong. Even if I'm wrong about Iglesias coming in, I still disagree with it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But anyway, like you said, they came out. So now tomorrow is, you have to win tomorrow to force a game 3. And you have Luis Castillo going, so you got to feel pretty good about that. We talked about feeling good about the three guys we're going to throw out here in this series. And so you still, I mean, it's not the series isn't over. And I think that's what you were getting at to start is people, Reds fans all over the place here, because they lost there, talking about how awful the Reds are and stuff. They played a great game, they couldn't figure out how to get guys home that were on base. They had a ton of guys on base. I mean, they had –
what the Reds do.
Yeah. They had 15 base runners, I think, or something like that throughout the game, over 13 innings. That's pretty darn good. They just couldn't get them home. They got to figure that out, and they'll have more opportunities tomorrow to do that. Now, just a couple more here. The Marlins beat the Cubs, so the Marlins are up 1-0 in that series. That series is important to us because if the Reds can win the next 2 days against the Braves, we'll play the winner of that series, Marlins and Cubs. We talked about that one. We got, I think we got them all. The Dodgers and Brewers are playing as we speak right now. I don't think anybody gives the Brewers a chance in that series. And I'll tell you what, really quick, before we move on from baseball, is there was an article yesterday before the playoffs started, before any games were played. It was 12 ESPN baseball writers. Mm-hmm. And they all picked, who they thought were going to win throughout the entire playoffs. I think it was 9 or 10 of the 12 picked the Reds to beat the Braves in this series, and every single one of them that picked the Reds to beat the Braves picked them to win that next series, and every single one of them that picked the Reds to go to the National League Championship Series all picked them to lose to the Dodgers.
There you go.
And that's exactly, I filled out one of those brackets too a couple days ago, and that's exactly what I picked too, to be honest with you. So I hope that they're all right, because I will feel incredible if the Reds make it to the National League Championship Series and get a chance to face the Dodgers.
I'm flying to Texas and trying to scalp one of those tickets.
I'll give you $10. I'll put 10 on it for you. So anyway, so that's a quick rundown of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in the next couple of days while you're listening to this podcast. So by the time you listen to it, like you mentioned before, there's going to, you're already going to see some other games have been played and figure out what's been going on with the late games that are going on right now. So if you don't have anything else with baseball,
it's time.
It's time to go on to our comedy segment to end the show. And really quick, I'm going to go as quick as I can here. To start our comedy segment, Chris, I'm gonna let you know that this past weekend I went to a comedy show.
Oh, I wanted to. I had it written down to ask you about this. You went to a comedy show. It was an outdoor comedy show at like a drive-in movie theater type deal. You were the first one in line. Were you right up at the top of the stage? Where were you?
No. So they had the first 4 rows. It was a drive-in, so you stayed in your car. That's the only way I would go to a comedy show right now. Let me be clear about that.
We all know.
But it was Hannibal Buress, a guy that we've watched a special before of his, and that I'm a big fan of. At the drive-in, drove up to Columbus. I was first in line to get into the park. So into the park, it's not a park. It's into the drive-in, into the theater, and the first 4 rows were for VIP. You had to pay extra for those, but we were in that next row. So, but that next row was still so far back that the stage was pretty far up. You couldn't really see what was going on the stage. So you had the enormous screen behind the stage, enormous.
Right.
So we pretty much watched the entire thing on the screen, but it was still cool to be there. And he actually at one time had a couple music acts. And so while one of the music acts was playing, he came down off the stage, jumped on a golf cart, and somebody drove him on a golf cart kind of like through the cars a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of around a little circle and back to the stage. So he came fairly close to us, like a row up or something like that. And he just drove by. You couldn't tell that was happening until he drove by. So it was like 2 seconds. You're like, oh, Hannibal was just driving, and he had a microphone, and he was like singing along or something like that. But he's a huge music guy, and he likes to make his own music, and he's got a thing that he does the auto tune. He likes to use the auto tune for his voice and stuff like that. To be honest with you, it's not great when he does that. He likes it too much, and he usually doesn't have a plan. He just does it, and it's like he tries to make it funny.
I love it. Yeah.
Anyway, and so he had a rapper, and he wasn't bad. He was pretty decent. But he went a pretty long time, and then there was a DJ playing pretty much the whole time, and then he had like another guest DJ called DJ Karshmello. DJ Karshmello was a man dressed as a marshmallow who came out and played like 10 songs about cars.
Awesome.
And would play a song and just come out, and he was just like doing dances, just like kind of dancing around. While a song that said something about a car played. Not so good. Not so good, honestly. It just wasn't funny.
Funny for 1 second and terrible for the next 20 minutes.
Exactly. And so anyway, and then Hannibal was there the whole time, just kind of like saying stuff or just being like a hype man or whatever. And then like DJ Carshmello would put something on, come around the table, to the front of the stage and just kind of like dance. And he was not any good at that or anything like that. And Hannibal would go behind the table and try to be like the DJ. And he kept doing like the thing where like DJs will like turn the volume all the way down so it's quiet to hear like the crowd sing that part or whatever. But he kept doing it, and he wasn't doing it like in rhythm or anything. He was bad at it. And then you could tell like DJ Carshmello was not too thrilled with that.
Yeah.
That part was not good, I got to tell you. Hannibal was, I feel like he was trying to riff a little bit more, just trying to do stuff off the top of his head a little bit more than I thought he would. I don't know that he had a ton of new material. A lot of the stuff he said was newer, but it was like he was trying to make it up on the spot. So he
was a lot of it Corona based, since he had to do that weird, since he was doing the tour that way.
Yeah, he did say a lot of stuff about the coronavirus, and had some jokes about that, and some of that was okay. But it was like he would start saying something and he just kind of stopped, like he was thinking about something, and he would just go into something else.
Yeah.
So it was not the show that I would hope to see. I want to see Hannibal in a regular theater, at some point again. Just
close quarters,
flat out stand up, So because that's what I like from him. And he did, because he would come out and do like, 15, 20 minutes and then have somebody come on and do some other stuff and then come back out for another 15 or something like that.
Okay.
So it was broken up, and he just couldn't, I don't know, he just couldn't really get a rhythm. There were a few times though that he was like doing jokes, and he kind of had a little flow going for a few minutes. And that, when he did that, he was funny. And
yeah.
So that's what I expected from him. So not the best comedy show I've ever seen, but I'm still happy I got to see Hannibal. I'm still happy I got to see live comedy in this environment. So it was cool. I was excited that there was one close enough. And so I got to see it. So anyway.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you. I like to do something like that now.
Yeah. Yep. More people are doing it. Nate Bargatze is doing the same kind of thing. So I wanted to get tickets to his, but they're very expensive. So I couldn't fork out that kind of money for two shows within a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I got to figure that out. Can you do I have to pull into a spot? Do they force you to park a certain way?
No.
Because like, I got a truck, I like to back in and be able to, kind of post up in the back of the truck.
You can back in, you can post up in the truck. If you go in the back of the truck, you don't have to wear a mask or anything like that. Yep. You have a little bit of freedom with that kind of stuff. Yep.
BYOB, or how does that work?
No food or drinks, but they did have a concession stand. So if you leave your car to go to the concession stand, you have to have a mask on. I saw a few people walking to the concession stand between all the cars with no mask. And I looked back and just could barely see the concession stand from where I was. And when I first looked back there, it looked like there were a ton of people back there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good that was handled, but
I mean, do they check your car? Like, if I brought a cooler, nobody's going to know.
Nope, because we had food and drinks in our car, because we made it kind of a trip where we went up there early in the day and just kind of drove around a little bit and had some food beforehand. And so yeah, they don't look close. If you hide it a little bit, you bring some waters or something like that, you're going to be fine.
So I there's a cap on the back of the truck, not a cap, but like a cover on the back of the truck.
Tonneau cover or something?
Yeah. So, they're not like opening your truck to see what's back there, right?
No. There was a police officer and a security guard and some folks that worked there that were kind of roaming around a little bit, but not actually looking in cars or checking people or anything like that.
Right. Gotcha. Well, there you go, man. Well, congratulations to that.
Yeah.
What do you give it? How many haws?
Oh man, that's a good idea. I'd give it like 2.5 haws. I'd give it like 2.5.
Not great, but it's not bad.
It was just a totally different kind of show. It wasn't a
Yeah,
comedy show like I'm used to, uh,
sure.
but it was fine.
All right. So on that note, because I am interested to know what you think about what we watched this week, which was Big J Oakerson live at, was it Wembley Hall or
Webster
Webster,
Hall.
Webster Hall?
Webster Hall. Uh, I liked it. Big J is funny, and he has a certain style. He is the only I think he's not the only, but he's I think the biggest, most successful like metal comic. I don't know.
Metal. This is. I love the fact that he had this giant metal band that brought him out, and that's totally his. He usually has like the cut off fingered gloves and still wear. He even made a joke about if you want to take advice from a guy that still wears a wallet chain.
Yeah. Yep, he's got the piercings and everything. He's got the look, and his comedy is sort of in line with that. It's pretty edgy. It's he'll take some risks. He'll take some risks, and he might offend you. So if you haven't watched it and you want to watch it, be ready. If you don't like a little bit of raunchy humor and some questionable stuff, some questionable topics, then you're not going to like this. But if you can see it as a comedy show, it's just they're just jokes.
He says it two or three times. Says it 2 or 3 times. It's just. He even felt like there was some that were so bad. He felt like he had to let you know it's just a joke. That's not real. I'm just letting you know this isn't real. It didn't happen. I made that up. Blah blah blah.
Right. So yeah, he was. I did think it was funny, and there's not a lot of stuff we can repeat on here since we just typically try to keep this at least PG-13 maybe sometimes, but I thought it was funny, and I was glad to that we watched it. I was glad you picked this one, and I'm going to give it a 3.9.
3.9. So I'm going to tell you this. When it comes to Big J Oakerson, this dude, I've watched him on, what's the guy's name? Ari
Shafir?
Ari Shafir. He like hosts this thing called, where they sit on it's almost like they're sitting on a small stage that's got people all around it, and they just get up there and they tell these outlandish stories, right? I think it's called something along the line of this really happened, or did that really happen, or something. I don't know. Oh. But Ari's the guy who brings people out on it, and he has even done a few. If you go on YouTube, you can't miss it. Anyway, he wears a purple like suit when he does it. So Big J's been on that a couple times, and he is some hilarious stories. Anyway, I think the guy is. I've always thought he is funny. I've always thought he doesn't care about anything that's going on or anyone that is listening. He could care less. He's just going to tell his jokes and go. And like he says in the comedy special, this is just comedy. If you're going, ooh, if you get a little queasy during a joke, then you know what? Just remember, it's just a joke. It's okay. None of it's real, blah, blah, blah. That being said, he gets so personal about himself and his family in some of the jokes. And when I'm out and about, like one of the things that I'll do, like, as guys, you talk about locker room talk, right?
Sure.
So, every once in a while, somebody will mess around and say something about, oh, yeah, I was with your girlfriend last night or something, saying something silly, trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I totally will run with that. I have no problem running with that and just feeding right into it. Like, you started this, now we're going to take it one step too far. I love doing that. That being said, a lot of the stand-up that he does, like talking about his daughter, God love his daughter. I feel totally bad for her in the next 10 years if she's only 13 years old. That being said, those are that's the kind of jokes I would tell if I was a comedian. Like, I would go way overboard about my family and tell complete lies. Not none of it's true,
Yeah.
but just because it's way too close to the line, if not way over the line on some things. But the same thing. Deep down inside, you're giggling a little bit. Deep down inside, you might be horrified on the outside with people watching you, but deep down inside, you're giggling a little bit. I love that about him. And he did a really good job with the crowd. I thought he did a phenomenal job with the crowd. I love when people can work a little bit of crowd work in there. And everything he had, when I see people do crowd work, I always think in my head, what response is he looking for? I see who he's looking at. He's obviously looking for a certain type of thing, couple or whatever, or something that he was looking for a skittish dude next to a good-looking chick, which, you know, he found. But I feel like he's got a few things in the crowd he can work, and he's got an answer. Either way, the answer comes out of the crowd, and he can turn it in. He can turn that answer into his next segment, and he did a really good job of that. That's the stuff I love. That's preparation. That is a pro. That's watching a pro at his craft. Whether you think he's way too raunchy or not, that is watching a true pro at his craft. I loved it. I gave it a 4.2.
4.2, very nice. That's what I was just going. When you started saying all that, I thought about that. I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to say, and you said pretty much exactly what I was going to say. Is he does that uniquely? I mean, people do crowd work and they do jokes, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody incorporate the two and use his crowd work to set up his next joke.
Because he knows he can use any answer that person gives to turn it into his next joke.
Yeah. Yep. Because he knows what he wants it to be. And yeah, you're right. He'll just use that and he'll kind of steer it. He'll steer it kind of his question to them. And even if they don't give him exactly what he needs, you know, if it's something he doesn't agree with, or his next joke is like the opposite of what they said, he'll say like, oh yeah, really? Okay. Not me. You know, I got to do this, you know, and he does a very good job of that.
Either way, he's prepared to turn it however he needs to turn it. It's phenomenal. I love that about this dude. I've never seen him in a full special. So I've never seen anything with like crowd work like that. All the stuff I've seen from him has been regular, just stand up there, tell a story, do a joke, be done. You know, segments, nothing more than, 8-10 minutes probably. That was awesome. I loved it, dude. Did I laugh as hard as I've laughed at others? Probably not. Sure. But at the same time, to watch him at his craft do what he did, that impresses me, and that bumps him up higher just for the way he was able to do that. Whether I was dying laughing at the jokes or not, there was something that I laughed really hard at. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of them were really funny, and I know that none of it's true. But the fact that he has to go out and tell the audience, okay, that really didn't happen.
Yeah,
I love that. I absolutely love it.
It was really good. So Big J Oakerson does I think I keep saying this every week, I think, but since I've been working from home, and this isn't something I should be doing because I'm so easily distracted and I can't do two things at one time. But since I am at home by myself, while I'm working, I'm listening to podcasts, mostly comedy podcasts, like most of the day, every day. Or just like I'll turn on like a comedy Pandora station or something like that. I've listened to so much comedy in the last 6 months, and I'm loving it. I'm finding new podcasts all the time. I've got so many different comedy podcasts I'm loving now. And one of them that I've known about for a couple years, and I've seen little clips here and there, but I keep forgetting about it. And I'm definitely going to make this one a priority. Big J Oakerson he's done a few different podcasts, but he does one with another comedian named Dan Soder. And those two guys are really good friends. And they do the one they're doing now, I think it's called The Bonfire.
Yep.
And I've seen some clips of that, and they've been really funny. And both of those guys are super funny. So I want to start listening to that. And that gets me to the next. Dan Soder just in the last 6 months or whatever put out a special himself, which is on Amazon Prime. So if you're listening to this, if you're listening to this and you want to watch it with us, or you want to watch it over the next weeks and listen to what we have to say about it and let us know what you think about it. Dan Soder, the title is Son of a Gary, which is hilarious to me. I'm assuming his dad's name is Gary. Son of a Gary is the name of it. I'm sorry, you're going to have an Amazon Prime account because it's on Prime Video.
Dude, if you don't have Prime already, you know somebody with Prime, right? Like, just get a website or get a login, get a password, and go. Yep. By the way, 2 weeks ago, the guy you picked, Michael McIntyre. I don't think I ever really said this on the podcast. My favorite joke was the password joke 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I can't remember the details, but I remember that being funny.
In the beginning, we all had to have a password. You used the password. And then they said, absolutely not. You must have a number in your password. So everybody just used their password and the number one. Everything he said was exactly what my password is right now. Yeah. Everything. I was like, it's so great. And then because I was waiting when they said the special character, I was like, he ain't going to say exclamation point. I'm the only one that does that. Nope, that's the one. I just realized that's the one. That's the shift one.
Yeah. Yep. Or I'll use the exclamation point in place of an I, because it's like an upside down I. So if my password has an I in it, sometime and you have to have one of those characters, I'll use the exclamation point.
I'm just going to tell you this. I use the exact same password for everything.
I'm mostly the same way, but it depends. I'll mix stuff up sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I had a password at a job I had one time years ago, and I used mostly I use either the same password that I use for most stuff, or if it's one of those things that they make you change it every so often or whatever.
I hate that.
It's a good idea. It's good for security, but it's you're supposed to change your passwords like that all the time for everything.
That's ridiculous.
But it's easy for guys like us because I just use all my favorite athletes. I just use the athlete's last name or their name and jersey number. So I've gone through all the Hall of Famers and all that kind of stuff.
Supposed to tell everybody.
Well, you don't know who it is or, which ones are for which things. But anyway, that makes it easy for me, and nobody can spell Olajuwon. So,
exactly.
I did Olajuwon 34. I did Ginobili, where one of the I's was an exclamation point. Ginobili 20 or whatever.
I love it. That's good.
So anyway, but Dan Soder. So give that a watch.
Son of a Gary. Give it a watch before next week. Get on, because we are going to have. We'll be getting to the end of the NBA playoffs at that point in time.
Yep.
Well, it could be over. No, it won't be over. No matter what, it won't be over by next week. But at the same time, we'll have plenty of Major League Baseball playoffs coming through, our NFL picks, Dan Soder, and so much more.
And I'll tell you what, I don't want to guarantee anything, but there's a chance that if the Reds advance beyond the Braves, maybe we could have Bobby Nightingale Jr. back on to talk about that next series and to talk.
We did make him make a slight promise on the podcast last week. So there is always going to be that. I would love to have that, actually. So we'll see what happens. Definitely, though, Dan Soder, Son of a Gray. Don't forget it next week. On that note, my man, I had an absolute blast this week, as always. And until next week, don't forget to turn on your headlights.